Hey everyone, welcome back. Today we're going to talk about the Dorian scale. The Dorian scale is a minor scale that is based off the second scale degree of the major scale, or Ionian scale. In the previous video, lesson number 2, we talked about the 3 fingerings of the major scale. The patterns were 1, 2, 4, 1, 2, 4, 1, 2. 2, 4, 1, 2, 4, 1, 3, 4, or 4, 1, 3, 4, 1, 3, and we had 2 choices here, remember? 1, 2, or 3, 4. They can be played both ways. You should know both ways to play that. If you haven't gone over the major scale yet, I suggest you check out that previous video. So the Dorian scale. The Dorian scale is a minor scale. It has a flat 3 and a flat 7. It differs from the natural minor scale in that the natural minor scale has a flat 6 and this has a major 6. This scale can be played 3 ways, just like the Ionian scale, and there's some slight variations when we get to open strings, just as there were in the major scale. 2 things before we get started here. I'm obviously doing this video from home today instead of at the studio where I was for the previous video. And that means that I don't have my video camera, so you're not going to be able to see a close-up of the fingerboard like I had in the previous video. Additionally, I'm playing this on a 5-string bass. This is my Fender I also left at the studio. This is a beautiful instrument by NS Designs, Ned Steinberger's company. This is a CR5, is a CR5 radius bass. It's a 5-string bass. I'm going to try to get through this lesson and be as clear as I possibly can. Just understand that if you're playing a 4-string bass, if you're not familiar with the way a 5-string bass works, they can work in a few different ways, but this bass is set up so that it has a low B string, this very, very low note on it. All you need to do is just pretend it's not there. So everything that you're going to be concerned with is from the E string, here, the 2nd string, up to the G string. So to get through this scale, we're going to start on C, just as we did. We'll work our way through the circle of fifths. If you don't know what the circle of fifths is, don't worry. I'll get to that in a different lesson. But basically, we're moving by fourths around the entire instrument so that we can get familiar moving around the instrument. I do recommend, as you're practicing this and as you're learning, that you say the names of the notes while you're doing this. For the sake of demonstration purposes, in these videos I'm not going to do that. I may do that at a later date, but to keep things concise for you, I'm going to just focus on fingerings. So, the first of the 3 fingerings that we're going to play starts on the 1st finger. So if we start on C, which, as you know from the previous lesson, is the 3rd fret on the A string, so that's right here, okay? There's our C. This fingering is going to go as follows. Now, if you're an upright bass player, don't play this fingering. We'll do all of these videos on the upright bass, again, at a later date. My personal belief is that the electric bass and the upright bass are 2 different instruments. They are not played the same, and they require 2 different types of technique in order to play. And actually, more than that. There's right-hand technique on the electric bass that doesn't really happen on the upright. All of that aside, this Dorian scale is going to be played from the 1st finger on C, 3rd finger a whole step away on D, 4th finger a half step away on E flat, 1st finger we're going to shift up a string because we're at the 4th scale degree, and we know from the previous lesson that the fourth is one string up on the same fret. So F with the first finger, G with the fourth finger, A shifting up a string, so that's a whole step away. Remember, a whole step is one string up and three frets back. So A with our first finger, B flat with our second finger, and C with our fourth finger. And then we'll take that back down. So C, B flat, A, G, F, E flat, D, C. 1, 3, 4, shift up a string. 1, 4, shift up a string. 1, 2, 4. And then back down. 4, 2, 1, down a string. 4, 1, down a string. 4, 3, 1. That's from the first finger. Let's play that in all 12 keys. F. So there's an open string when you're at half position, right there. The sixth scale degree is open. So that's for F minor, for the F Dorian, and for B flat Dorian. So the next one, again, up a fourth, B flat. There's our open string. E flat, 6th fret on the A string. A flat. D flat. G flat. B. Remember, G flat is also F sharp. A flat is also G sharp. Now, here we are at E. We're going to play this with an open string, right? Then the fingering here is going to be open, 1, 2, open, 1, 4, open, 1. So 1, open, 4, 1, open, 2, 1, open. Same pattern on the A string. Open, 1, 2, open, 1, 4, open, 1, 1, open, 4, 1, open, 2, 1, open. Okay, we could also play that scale at the 5th fret on the A string. On this 5-string bass, just in case you're interested, we could play the E, starting on the 5th fret of the B string, but ignore that. Now we're at D, okay? 5th fret on the A string. G, 3rd fret, E string. 4, 2, 1, 4, 1, 4, 3, 1. And then we're back at C. So that's starting on the first finger. Now we're going to start on the second finger. I'm going to demonstrate starting on the second finger. We'll do it down here. So second finger on C. We're then going to play D with our 4th finger, E flat on the D string with our 1st finger. Now, obviously you could play the D as an open string. It's actually much more comfortable, but for the demonstrations of this fingering, I'm going to start by fingering the D with my fourth finger. So C, D with the fourth finger, E flat with the first finger, F with the second finger, G with the fourth finger, A with the first finger, B flat with the second finger, C with the fourth finger. So this is more of a stretch to play this particular fingering. Now when we get down to the F here, we're stuck with the first fingering, just like we did before. Same with B flat, unless we move it up here to the 6th fret on the E string. So let's do that. So we're going to play B flat with our second finger on the 6th fret of the E string. So again, this fingering, 2, 4, 1, 2, 4, 1, 2, 4, 4, 2, 1, 4, 2, 1, 4, 2. E flat. 1, 2, 4, 1, 2, 4, 4, 2, 1, 4, 2, 1, 4, 1. A flat. D flat. G flat. Now, what's interesting with G flat is you can play this with your second or your first finger. I don't really care which. For the sake of demonstration, we'll use our second finger, but at this part of the neck, I like to use 1 and 4. My hand fits more comfortably between a whole step down here than it does between 3 frets, like a minor third. It's just a more natural position. So, disregard that, and here we go. So 2, 4, open, 2, 4, I'm sorry, 1, 2, 4, 4, 2, 1, 4, 2, open, 4, 2. Same with the B on the A string. And then E, we've got the open string that we had in the previous example. So that fingering again, starting from A this time, is open, 1, 2, open, 1, 4, open, 1, 1, open, 4, 1, open, 2, 1, open. Again, we could do that from the 5th fret of the E string for the A, so that's 2, 4, 1, 2, 4, 1, 2, 4. And then D. Then G. Great. The third and final fingering for the Dorian scale would start on the 4th finger. So for the purposes of demonstration, we're going to start on the 8th fret on the E string. So the fingering here is going to be 4, 1, 2, 4, 1, 3, 4, 1. Or we could make the shift. We could do 4, 1, 2, 4, 1, 3, and then 1, 3. Or 1, 4. Whatever's more comfortable for you. Everybody's got different size hands. Now, I would not recommend shifting back to play the B flat on the G string, because then you're traveling this huge distance across the length of the neck. And again, we're trying to minimize our shifting. So we've still got a pretty big movement here, but it's not too bad. So we're going to shift up. So this will be in the space of 3 strings, moving just like that. So 4, 1, 2, 4, 1, 3, 1, 4. F. We'll keep it up here as opposed to going down here because, again, that we've already practiced that particular scale twice, that fingering twice, in both examples. So let's take it up the octave. We're going to play F on the 8th fret of the A string. 4, 1, 2, 4, 1, 3, shift, 1, 4. 4, 1, 3, 1, 4, 2, 1, 4. B flat. Shift, shift. Okay, E flat, same thing. 1, 3, shift, 1, 4, shift. A flat. G sharp, same thing. Shift up, shift back. D flat, C sharp, same thing. Now, this F sharp, we're sort of stuck in a similar state. We can do this from the second finger pattern that we just ran through, or you can do it with your first finger. So 1, 4, open, 1, 4, 1, 2, 4, whatever's more comfortable for your hand. But for the purposes of demonstration and learning the instrument, let's go up the octave. So this is the 9th fret on the A string, 4th finger on F sharp. So 4, 1, 2, 4, 1, 3, shift, 1, 4, 4, 1, shift. Now B. A. D. G. Now again, that's an interesting one because we've got this open string there. So let's just pretend that the nut is where our pointer finger is going to go when we get to that D. So the D is going to be open. 4, open, 1, 4, open. I'm sorry, 2, 4, and then you can either shift here, F to G on the D string, or you could play an open string if you want to. You should know both. That's actually a nice fingering. Let's do that one. So 4, open, 1, 4, open, 1, 2, 4. You would do the same for C. So those are the 3 fingerings of the Dorian scale. Again, Dorian is the second mode of the major scale. The first mode of the major scale is the major scale, and that's called the Ionian mode. This is the Dorian mode. In the next lesson, we're going to talk about the Mixolydian mode, which is the fifth mode of the major scale. Once we've done that, we're going to be able to combine those and actually make some music out of it. Remember, scales are not music. They're just a way of familiarizing yourself with the instrument, getting your fingers used to moving linearly on the instrument. And again, these are only 1 octave scales. We'll be doing 2 octave scales later on. These are just the very basic building blocks that you'll need to start being able to play some music and come up with your own creative lines. I hope that was helpful for you. If you have any questions or comments, suggestions, anything like that, please let me know. I know this might be a little bit confusing where I'm using the 5-string bass and you don't have the other view of the other camera angle, but I hope that this was informative nonetheless.